Good afternoon, everybody. My name is A Weapons, Mid-Lyfe Music. Shouts out to the almighty LDBC. Go to ldbcsports.com where you can interact, register, and interact with the brothers and sisters of the LDBC. Also go to ticketvmedia.com. I don't even know if that's even still up, but go there anyway. And just check out A Weapons merch, LDBC merch, A Weapons music. And you can register to the forum on that site as well. Now, I don't know if Black still has this situation going, because I heard that he actually left and he's going to be doing new podcasts and things like that. But I think trilltalk.net, I think that's still up. So you can stop by there too when you get a minute. This is actually a response to YouTube. This morning, they actually took off one of my videos saying that it's being cited for harassment and all this other stupid stuff that I don't understand for the life of me. It was about the guitar player that was behind Kiss back in the 70s and some of the 80s. And the gentleman actually went on tour with them all through the 90s. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just snapped. His name is Bob Kublic. And since that time I had did that video, Bob Kublic had passed on. Now, more or less what I was saying more than anything was that his brother Bruce knows that Bob either had or he at that time had a mental issue. He may have even had it when he was like a little boy or whatever, because Bob was older than Bruce. And Bruce basically just said, look, I'm going to put an order of protection out on him. I'm not going to fight him, which is what you should have done. That's your brother. You don't need to go outside and just fight it out. Now, Bruce, it was the guitar player that actually took the place of, who did he take the place of? He took the place of somebody. Ace Frehley. He took his place. And that was he took Vinnie Vincent's place. I'm sorry. He took Vinnie Vincent's place. And, he was the face of Kiss. And perhaps deep inside, Bob Kublic felt a certain way. Maybe. Also, Bob Kublic was turned down by Kiss as far as the look. Because he didn't have the look that Kiss was, Kiss, almost all of Kiss was like 5'9", 5'10", 6 feet. Gene Simmons was 6'2", Paul 6 feet, Ace 6'1", Peter was like 5'10", you know what I'm saying, maybe 5'9". But anyway, they wanted a certain look. Gene Simmons had even mentioned in one of his books that when they were looking for a guitar player before Ace came, they had a black guy came and audition, and he was great, but Paul didn't want him in the group because he was black. Like I said, this is what Gene said, and I believe him. Because Paul was like, well, we just wanted somebody who could complete the look, right? The problem was that Paul wanted a white man in the group. So that was the issue. So anyways, back to what I was talking about. Bob Kublic basically played guitar and anything that they needed guitar wise, in the background, never took credit for it or anything. And Paul would pay him. Or either Gene would pay him. They would just pay him, for his services. And for decades, Bob never said nothing. He always kept that, he always kept that to the chest. He never said anything. Until like about a few years before he died. Maybe like 2 years, year and a half before he died. They used to do the Kiss cruises. Like every summer, Kiss would go on a boat cruise. And they would go out there and they would perform. And they would have cover bands perform, or either bands that they're trying to push out there. They have all of these groups out there, and they were trying to get them, signed on or whatever. And for some reason, with Bruce and Bob, they used to go together as, the Kulick brothers or whatever. And Bob Kulick started complaining about the t-shirts. Now the t-shirts probably, he probably put $750. Now notice, I didn't say 7,500. I didn't say 75,000. I said $750. About the amount that it takes for you to get money, for 1 million streams on YouTube Music. That's how much $750. So with the $750, he expected to have all of these millions, all this money and everything, and they really didn't get a lot of money. And so Bob blamed Paul and Gene from stealing. And of course, Bruce knew that they weren't stealing, but, he was torn. And so Bob put Bruce in the situation also. And then it just got worse and worse. Bob was doing an interview. I forgot who was doing the interview for him. But he was sitting there eating ice cream, talking about how he got 2 Grammy Awards for Motorhead and for SpongeBob or something like that. Spongehead Bob. You knew something was wrong. I put it that way. You knew something was wrong. And no one helped him. No one tried to get him into, a hospital so he can take care of to take care of his mental health. And so from that time, now this had to be like about, 4 years ago, maybe even almost 5 years ago. I'd say 4 or 5 years ago. And then today, this morning, YouTube decides to take my video down. And I'm like, well, the whole thing was talking about asking Bruce Kulick and Paul Stanley to get him some help. That's what the whole thing was about. And they tried to cite harassment. I'm like, what the hell are y'all talking about? So anyways, I'm putting this video back up. Now notice I've said no profanities. I've made no reference to anybody being anything. I just basically stated the facts. And I'm going to see how long this video stays up. Because it's a shame you can't even make a video without YouTube saying or doing something absolutely stupid. Now, I have a feeling that what probably happened was one of the big dogs. It was either Paul or Bruce or either their current manager. What's his name? Doc Stevens, Doc something. I forgot his name right now. But he probably called him and was like, yo, we want to take that down. No, don't take that down. Leave it up. People need to know about mental illness. And since that time, too, I just want to say, in the video, I mentioned that, my pops, he had mental illness and everything like that. And so I understand and I know the signals and I know everything about it. Like my pops was a man's man, right? But inside, a jealous child. And that would always come out. Now, since I did that video that time, matter of fact, October 16th, Monday, will be 2 years my pops had passed away. So I kind of understand what mental illness is about. Because my father suffering from it since I can remember. Now, there were times where he would be perfectly okay for like about 5 years, 2 years, sometimes even 10 years. But when he stopped taking his medication, he slipped. And I think that Bruce knew that Bob has a mental illness. And I for whatever reason, he didn't help. Now, I don't know if Paul knew, but Paul could have stepped in and said, look, let's get him some help because you can see that something's wrong. You arguing over $750? 1. 2, you kept talking about Radiohead and Spongehead Bob. Well, I got a Grammy. I'm a Grammy. Bruh, something was wrong with him. Now, like I said, since that time he passed, and I actually got a video on here, like, giving my commemorations to him, like, yo, look, I know that you went through a lot. So, I hope